to school at the latest possible moment, slipping just inside the door as the tardy bell sounds. I've gotten the daily ritual down to a science, knowing exactly when to leave the house. A few minutes later, the teacher has started lecturing. I sneak a look around the room, but I already know what I'm going to see. My friend Randy, who was up late last night playing Fortnite, already has his head on the desk, making a tiny, snoring sound. Chuck is holding his pencil over his notebook, upright but slumped slightly to the side. He's not the only friend I have that can sleep with his eyes open. Many of the kids are nearly comatose, or at best, half listening. And does this seem familiar to you? Been there, done that. It's simple. This isn't a new problem. High schools need to start later. Schools that are smart have a later start. First, let's talk about what the researchers say about why so many teens are having trouble with sleep and school. Researchers at the Center for Disease Control, along with others from Brown University and the University of Minnesota, to name only a few, all refer to well-established studies from the American Academy of Pediatrics and the U.S. Department of Education to make several important conclusions. Teenage students aren't sleeping enough. The research shows that adolescents need more sleep than others, between 8 and 10 hours per night. Not only that, they have had a sleep phase shift, meaning their biological clocks tick differently as they hit their teenage years. The research shows that teens don't start feeling tired until close to 11 p.m. Most simply aren't able to fall asleep until times approach midnight. Meanwhile, the majority of high school students across the country start before 8 a.m. Less than 15% of high schools start instruction at or after 8:30 a.m. Obviously, these numbers don't line up well for students. Less than a third of American high school students get 8 hours of sleep on weeknights. Less than 1/3. What does all this lack of sleep do to American students? Where to start? The CDC says that lack of sleep among adolescents causes a drop in physical activity, more obesity, added depression, increase in drinking, smoking, and drug abuse, and large drops in academic performance. Brown researchers add that sleep deprivation causes more irritability, suicidal tendencies, extra sickness, and severely weakens organization, memorization, and motivation at school. In addition, Macmillan of Time magazine says that car accidents to and from school also rise from added fatigue. Multiple studies from all these researchers have indicated that when schools start later, huge benefits follow. Dr. Burgers of Brown University found that later start times mean less depression, reduced caffeine use, less sleeping in class, fewer automobile accidents, less dropouts, fewer students tardy or absent, boost in standardized math and reading test scores, and even better athletic results on courts and sports fields. Students in Lexington, Kentucky saw 16.5% less automobile accidents. Minneapolis students reported getting on average about an hour of added sleep per night with the later start time. Another school saw the percentage of students who were able to get 8 or more hours of sleep nearly double with the delayed start. Dr. Wellstrom of the University of Minnesota followed a nearby high school whose later start times led to fewer disciplinary incidents and much less fatigue during the early part of the school day. Furthermore, 92% of parents claimed their children were easier to live with. Wellstrom's research also showed that more schools delay the start time, the greater the positive impact, advocating for start times nearer to 9 a.m. Schools that are smart have a later start. With so much attention paid to how American schools are failing academically, are we ignoring the painfully obvious solution? Why aren't more high schools pushing back the clock on school and following the many proven successes of others who have taken the lead? Researchers like Wellstrom and Burgers have shown that schools who do see no drops in sports or after-school activity participation, no resulting later bedtimes in students, no interference with after-school employment, and no climbing transportation costs. In 2011, the Brookings Institute showed that later start times in high school students had a 9-to-1 benefit to cost ratio with students. performing better on testing and earning around 17,500 more over their lifetimes. It's time to take action. Schools are mainly controlled by local districts and schools. Start a petition. Talk to your school board. Involve your parents. Advocate through your student government. Start, contact, and join your local chapter of Start School Later, a nonprofit organization dedicated to the mission. Remember, schools that are smart have a later start.